cowboys from Canada, Australia, from all over the world. We're a big-time rodeo.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Salt Lake.
Really a great rodeo. You get goosebumps.
The history of rodeo in Utah goes back to the very beginning.
We get to realize dreams that have been a long time in the works.
The Days of 47 is the biggest rodeo in the state of Utah.
Looks tough, doesn't it? Hey, it's always a good time, though. And last night, the Days of 47 Cowboy Games and Rodeo kicked off its second year in the new arena downtown.
And tonight, we want to take a look at how the popular rodeo came to be and how it's helping to keep the pioneer spirit alive. Here's Deanie Wimmer with a look back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Salt Lake City.
Greatness didn't happen for the Days of 47 rodeo straight out of the chute. It's taken more than a century of thrilling rides and some nasty tumbles to get there. Salt Lake's first Pioneer Day rodeos were styled Wild West shows, held at now forgotten places like Calder's Park and Beck's Hot Springs. They touted daring feats of horsemanship, rope throwing, bronco busting, stagecoach reenactments, and other so-called illustrations of life on the plains. By 1931, Wild West shows were out and rodeo was in at the Utah State Fairgrounds.
The rodeo always started with all-horse parade, riding clubs and queens and various dignitaries, all horseback.
For nearly 4 decades, thousands packed the fairgrounds on Pioneer Day to see saddle bronc riders, bull riders, trick riders, and of course the rodeo clowns. By the mid-60s, rodeo photographer Jim Fain could see the sport was now turning into a profession.
Cowboys realized it was a job, actually.
By then, Flip Harmon was the man in charge.
Go tell them what to do.
And he thought he could make the rodeo bigger by taking it inside the new Salt Palace Arena.
If you were going to step up in pro rodeo, you had to move into a facility that was befitting a professional event.
Harmon roped in one of the nation's premier livestock men, Swanee Kirby of Bartee Rodeos.
Swanee and Bud Kirby.
You always picture Swanee riding out, always very sharply dressed. I mean, the cowboy's cowboy.
Kirby and his team would essentially produce the rodeo for the next 40 years.
He was very proud of it. In fact, I think they did it for a few years for free, just to get it going.
And Swanee had a reputation for finding bulls with the right talent and the right ornery temper.
Some of the stories where they came out of swamps of Louisiana weren't too accustomed to seeing people, I guess.
And for that first rodeo in the Salt Palace, Flip Harmon and Swanee Kirby got a huge and surprise assist from Richard Nixon. The president was in town to meet church authorities of the LDS Church.
Those photographs of Nixon, looks like the place was pretty much full, that performance.
From that year on, the crowds and the rodeo kept building.
It was really a great rodeo. You get goosebumps.
Well, the new rodeo venue at the Utah State Fairgrounds debuted last summer, but it took contributions from the state, businesses, private, and religious organizations to become a reality.
Dave McCann sat down with Elder M. Russell Ballard, acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to find out why the rodeo is so important in preserving our state's pioneer heritage.
The history of rodeo in Utah goes back to the very beginning, and now we're bringing back the rodeo to where it was for many, many years on this fair park.
The theme, Return to the Fairground, seems to be a metaphor for a lot more than just showing up.
You know, the fair in the early days was a very, very important part of our culture.
Is there a concern that if you don't fight to keep the pioneer heritage alive, that we'll just forget about it?
That's been one of my personal great concerns. If we lose, and if our youth lose, the appreciation of what our forefathers did in making this community what it is, we will have lost a very precious treasure. And that's true for every culture. It's true for every religion. It's not just the Mormons.
When you went to the rodeo as a kid, what was your favorite part?
See if they could stay on the bulls.
Did you ever try it?
No, but I did ride a sheep one time.
Your ancestors, you think they'd be proud of you for helping to save the rodeo?
Well, I hope so.
They might want to see you back on that sheep.
I don't know. I think at 88 I'll pass.
Wise man.
Good job. Great conversation there. When we come back, keeping cowboy life alive. Meet one Utah family working hard to raise their boys in a world with ranches and rodeos. Welcome back. These days, the cowboy lifestyle isn't nearly what it used to be.
The news specialist Alex Cabrero found one family working hard to keep that spirit alive.
Tomorrow's cowboys have to start saddling up somewhere.
Yo, Seth, where's your whip?
For 3-year-old Luke Lewis, his 2 older brothers Owen and Will, and his cousin Cale, that somewhere is here at home. Lewis Livestock in Lehigh.
Riding?
Yeah, riding. Almost before he could walk, Luke has been on horses and mules, loving every little detail.
Every day.
For Luke's father, John, this is what family is all about.
It's a lot of fun, a lot of fun. It's a great way to raise your kids.
John Lewis was also raised here on the family ranch, learning all about horses and hay.
You know, you grow up as a kid and you want to go on and do other things, but as soon as you get away from the farm, you want to come right back. The lifestyle is contagious.
That farming lifestyle, though, is getting smaller every year across Utah. Lewis is doing his best to keep his family tradition alive.
The challenge is you can't afford to have ground, raw ground, to raise a crop on or to feed your cattle because ground's so expensive in town. So you have to go further and further away from society to keep it alive. But you need to be able to raise your kids within the good system.
Because he feels kids raised within a good system, like ranching and farming, are better able to handle life as an adult. It is hard work. It takes a team to get things done. And riding on big animals like these all by yourself, for little kids, that takes courage.
This is like everything else in life. Confidence reigns out, and if they have confidence, then they can be successful.
That's why this lifestyle is so important to him. Yes, there are some life lessons along the way, a sort of natural order to things.
Come on, get out my house right now. Get out my house.
But for these little cowboys, it's just plain fun.
Riding the horses up in the canyon. Best thing is kind of riding them. The worst thing is falling off. Keep doing what you want to do, and then he'll start to listen.
And with the Days of 47 rodeo, Lewis says it's a tradition that makes even the toughest days on the ranch worth it.
The Days of 47 is the biggest rodeo in the state of Utah. So to be able to take my children out, let them see it, and remind them of their pioneer heritage, it's a great opportunity. It's priceless.
We have so many stories on the Days of 47 rodeo. Go to our app, check them out. And of course, the rodeo runs tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday.
Have a great weekend, and you have a great baby.
Hey, yes.
See ya.
See ya.